Stress is not necessarily uniform. Irregularities such as holes or sharp corners could produce areas of significantly larger stress, known as stress concentrations. Today we will analyze stress concentrations around holes using the following formulas. As seen in the graph, stress at the radius distance from the center, or around the edge of the hole, could get 3 times larger than the average stress across the plate. These effects, however, are very localized, and once again, as seen from the graph, disappear a diameter distance away from the edge of the hole. A similar plot was made using finite element analysis in SolidWorks. A polycarbonate plate with a hole in it was simulated and analyzed. The normal and shear stresses on the plane containing the diameter of the hole were plotted. Finite element analysis takes a solid object under any type of loading and breaks it up into smaller parts, which are analyzed individually. This allows for an accurate analysis of the internal stresses and strains. The size of these elements is determined by a mesh. The finer the mesh, the more accurate the analysis. Using a mesh that is too fine, however, will take a long time for the computer to process. As seen from the plots, the normal stress along the cross-section containing the diameter is varied and much higher than the average stress across the plate. As a matter of fact, certain areas along the cross-section even experience compressive stress. Finally, we tested these predictions by conducting a tensile test on a polycarbonate plate with a 1-inch hole in the center. The plate was placed in the instrument machine and put under tensile loading, i.e. stretched. The load was varied from 0 to 2,000 pounds. Now kids, I know the rest of this is boring, but this test is going to be extremely awesome.
We're ready when you're ready.
We're ready when you're ready, Alex.
Alright, can we go ahead?
Yeah.
It's running.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's a little magic going on right here. Polycarbonate. It's bulletproof glass.
In a garden of freedom, honey, don't you know that I'm loving you? In a garden of freedom, baby, don't you know that I'll always be true?
That makes me really happy.
The awesome video you just saw was the photoelastic tensile test, where polarized light was shone through a polycarbonate plate and photographed. Strains in the plate and their corresponding stresses alter the color of light passing the plate, providing a vivid picture of the stress distributions. The color bands, or fringes you see, represent areas of constant stress, somewhat like a contour map. As you can see, the contour lines converge around the hole, indicating a dramatic change in stress concentration. For a more mathematical understanding of this, data from the strain gauges was plotted on the following graphs. These plots using strain gauge data are of y normal stress as a function of distance from the center of the hole. These numbers were taken when the plate was under maximum load. This actual plot was somewhat close to our theoretical predictions, but not exactly. We saw the general downward sloping trend as stress somewhat exponentially decreased as a function of distance from the plate, center of the plate. However, the actual results were a lot more gradual than what the equation predicted. This is probably due to the fact that the equation is an approximation and does not exactly account for stress distributions. Furthermore, looking at the y-axis of the graph, it can be seen that the stress around the radius of the hole is about 1,000 psi. This is not expected because it's close to the average stress in the plate, whereas theory predicts that it should be about 3 times more than the average stress, or 3,000 psi. The reason for these discrepancies is probably due to faulty data from the strain gauges. Generally speaking, irregularities such as holes or sharp corners produce large stresses that are much larger than the average stress on the plate. As such, it's important to understand its effects. So I hope you learned a lot about stress classification today and had as much fun watching this video as I had making it. We'll leave you with one last clip. Stress is not necessarily uniform. Stress is not necessarily uniform. Stress is not necessarily uniform. Irregularities such as holes or sharp corners can produce. Stress in these.
No.
More generally, closest to the reading. How can I say things? It's very important to understand how to. I have no idea what I'm saying.
Yeah, do Captain Morgan.
It's far too high.
No, if the chair was...
like that?
That's too high.
No, if the chair is normal, then if you put the chair normally, then it will be... Then you do Captain
It's
Morgan.
Captain
Okay. Okay. No, you have to keep the glasses on, then take them off halfway through the...
Yes.
Okay. Ready?
What was I saying? I'm sorry. Captain Morgan is just like. Nowadays, I know the rest of this was boring, but this test is going to be extremely awesome. That's so preposterous. It's the most ridiculous transition ever.